Вам точно не нужно представлять Марка Цукерберга, основателя крупнейшей в мире социальной сети Facebook, которой пользуются более 950 миллионов человек ежедневно. Из них 500 миллионов человек пользуются этой сетью благодаря своим мобильным устройствам. Но я буду рада представить вам также Михаила Лялина, который присутствует здесь. Он основатель компании The Top Lab и создатель игры Cut the Rope. Вы знаете, Марк — это человек, у которого, видимо, нет иерархических структур. Mark is not very much fond of hierarchical structures, so his lecture will be also in a very democratic manner. He will be talking with Mikhail Lялin, and now they start. Welcome, welcome to Moscow State University.
Awesome. Mark, welcome to Moscow. Welcome to Moscow State. Welcome to my hometown, my home country. This is for you.
Thank you.
All right. So the first question, why are you here?
So this is actually my first time in Russia ever, and my first time in Moscow. I'm here for just a few days, and you know, I don't spend a lot of time traveling. I spend almost all my time back in Palo Alto building our products and working with our product teams. But you know, maybe once a year or so, I'll go visit some country which is particularly important in the world for our mission of trying to make the whole world open and connected. And you know, it's been awesome so far. I've gotten a chance to see a lot of different parts of the city and talk to a bunch of different folks. And it's really an honor to be invited to come here to this university. Students, in a lot of ways, are kind of the core of Facebook. And you know, I don't know how much you guys know about the history of how we got started as this college service, but you know, back in the very beginning of Facebook, when I was in college, I made the original service just because I wanted to be able to stay connected and know what was going on more with the people around me at my school. So. And since then, you know, as we spread from country to country, the university students and younger folks have been the first to adopt Facebook all along the way. So a lot of what I wanted to do here is get a chance to talk to some students, talk to some engineers and developers. We did a hackathon event, and you know, just kind of get a sense of what's going on over here. But it's been an awesome visit so far.
Sounds good, sounds good. And look, because we don't have questions after this, I'm going to proceed some of the audience. Obviously, most of the people here have probably seen the movie. You know. So, instead of seeing the movie, tell us the history, tell us how you see it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie wasn't really true. So, you know, so I don't really know where to start besides that. I mean, I guess the real story here is that when I was when I was growing up, even before I got started actually working on Facebook and building it, you know, I remember I had the internet when I was in elementary school and middle school, and I remember I had access to Google, first search engine, when I was in middle school. And it was this really interesting moment for me because it's like for the first time you can get access to all this different information that you'd want to have. And it just seemed amazing, right? I mean, no other generation before ours could have access to that much information. It just seemed like this totally different thing. But as time went on, what I kind of realized was that, you know, being able to look up information is cool and is really useful. But what I really cared about, and what the people around me really cared about, was knowing what was going on with the people in their lives. Right? I mean, we as people are so hardwired to want to be connected to the people around us, and we process the world through other people, and you know, so many different parts of the brain are like just purely developed to kind of be able to read people and process emotions and process language to communicate with people and things like that. That you know, there was nothing like that was out there on the internet, and you couldn't use a search engine to be able to find out what was going on with the people around you, because what was going on with the people around you wasn't just out, no one had shared that. It wasn't on the internet indexed, ready to be found in a search engine. So someone had to build the tools in order to make it so that people could start sharing stuff, and then also help people make sense of all the information that was out there, and make it so that you could get a news feed or a newspaper of the content that your friends had online and the stuff that you cared about. So I kind of got started building it just as a small college thing when I was in college, and the goal back then was not to build this big worldwide company or anything like that, but just to make something that I wanted to use with the people around me. And I was really passionate about it, and I wanted this thing to exist. And the first thing didn't have some huge grand plan. I just I kind of hacked the first version together in a couple of weeks, because I just wanted to throw it out there and see what happened. And then over time, people from different schools wrote into us asking to have it. So we spent time, me and my roommates at the time, just kind of opening Facebook up at different schools, and then eventually at different schools across the world, and then allowing anyone to sign up after a couple of years. We just kind of kept on building the next thing until we now have this network where over 900 million people around the world are actively using it. More than 500 million people use it every day. And it's just really this huge kind of honor to be able to build products that many people use. And that's kind of how we got there.
Well, it's very interesting, and obviously, thank you for doing that. Well, you made it sound so simple. You had this idea, right? In middle school, you used the internet, you looked what was wrong with the internet, you had an idea. Off you go, you have 900-something million people, right? There must be a lot in between. Tell us how that was happening. What kind of decisions were you making? Like big ones, fun ones?
Well, are you talking about after I got started?
After this.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many different things along the way. I think the biggest thing that I think that we needed to do was just kind of stay focused on building this awesome experience, right? And there were all these different things that we could have done, and early on, a lot of people thought that we should sell the company because we could make a lot of money, or spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to make a lot of money early on. But we just really believed that this was something that a lot of people around the world could benefit from and want to use. And at each point along the way, we just kind of focused on who are the next set of people, at the next university or the next country that we could open this up to. What products that make sense to build next. We've always kind of been on the edge of trying to build new social products, and around the world, different folks have had their products either kind of copied or inspired by some of the stuff that we've done, and that's cool. But we've always wanted to kind of be on the edge and just kind of focused on building new things. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of this just comes down to focus and not getting distracted by all the things that are going on around you. But that I think is probably the most important thing.
So when you focus on something, you gotta nail it down. You gotta say that I'm focusing on that. So what is it Facebook focused on?
I mean, there are really two things that we do primarily. I mean, one is, if you go back to what I was saying before, where before on the internet there just wasn't the content that you cared the most about, which is what's going on with the people you care about and the ability to connect with them. There are really two sides to what we build. One are tools for people to share anything that they want with anyone who they want. And then the other side are tools for basically being able to see what's going on with those set of people. So for the first set of things, it's things like being able to share photos, right, or status updates, or location, and being able to say, no matter who you want to share them with, I just want to share these with my family, so I'm only going to share it with 6 people, right? Or I want to share it with all of my friends, so that's cool. I want to share, that I'm in Moscow with all my friends. Or, sometimes people want to use these tools to reach, a ton of people around the world. So, I mean, you can also use these tools to share with, millions of people at a time. So being able to share whatever you want with exactly the audience that you want is a really important kind of principle of what we're building, and there are a lot of tools that kind of go towards that. Then on the other side, with all the information that's in the system, I mean, people are sharing, billions of pieces of content a day. The biggest question is, what are the right things to show a person, right? So when you sign into Facebook, you have, on average, 100 to 200 friends. Those friends have probably shared a few hundred things that day. A big question for us is, what are the most interesting things that that are happening in your network that we can choose to share? We can choose to show at the top of the newsfeed so you can most effectively see what's going on with the people around you. So we invest a lot of time in building out those two sets of things.
So when you focus on that type of mission to make the world essentially connected, you said so even in your IPO filings when this is the most important thing to you. How do you then take, because I'll step back, I mean, mission and the kind of things you're talking about, we don't get that very often here, right? I mean, we don't get people to talk about how they're building great things. So when you talk about this, how do you then take it and make it a company culture that builds and executes on that vision?
I think a lot of it is just about getting people around you who really believe in the same things that you do, no matter what the things are, right? So for us, I think we're a little different as a company because we are so focused on this social mission. I mean, we kind of come to work every day and we are really focused on just this idea that we want to empower people to share more things. We want to empower people to stay connected to more people than previously was possible. And in order to do that, we need to build an awesome company. We need to hire really great people, and we need to make a lot of money to power the company and all that. But for us, really, the mission and kind of this vision of a world where everyone in the world, billions of people, can share what they want and stay connected to all the people that they want. That's the thing that gets us really excited. And along the way, I mean, we've just had different people join the company who are really either into that, or some people aren't into it, and the people who aren't into it leave, and then we attract more people who are really excited about that, and that's just kind of how we've gone about building the culture.
It's a process, certainly. So that mission, that focus that you guys have, and you're moving around the world, you're getting all the possible users to use Facebook, almost 1 billion of them now. The few places in the world, obviously, where you don't succeed. Some of them just don't let you. And here we have competitors. So working in the environment where your competitors enjoy certain clever content distribution models, as they say, how would you compete with that?
Well, it's a little different in every country. So we started in the US, obviously, and since then, there were a lot of countries that didn't have any competitors and that, Facebook quickly just grew. Although there were other kind of general social networks, even in the US before. There were things like MySpace and then there were specific countries that either had kind of clones of Facebook, services that were really modeled after it. So Germany was one. I think there are a couple here that are similar to that. And then there were a bunch of countries where there were just different services too that we were competing with. And it's interesting because people really want to use the service that their friends are on, right? So there's this inertia where if all your friends are using one service, then your kind of gut reaction is going to be to kind of go to that service and stick with that. But over time, people really do switch to a better service. I mean, one thing that's easy to forget is that even in the US, when we were getting started, MySpace already had 100 million users, and I remember this moment where we had around 10 million users, primarily in universities, and MySpace had around 100 million, and a bunch of companies wanted to buy Facebook, and a lot of the people on our board thought that we should sell because they're like, well, MySpace is 100 million, how are you ever going to beat them? And it just turns out, if you focus on building great products and you build something that's better, then it won't happen overnight, but I think people do over time want to use the best product, even if all their friends are currently on one thing. And that's kind of been the story in a lot of other countries too. So take Germany, for example. There was this site that was pretty much an exact clone of Facebook. And they, all the university students in Germany use this one site, and it took a while for Facebook to grow there. But eventually, I mean, people want to use the service where they can connect to everyone who they know, not just people in one country. And they want to use the best service. And if we're kind of always out trying to build new features, and a lot of these other services are just kind of trying to copy those and are like lagging a bit behind what the features are, then I think over time, if we can offer the best service, then people will move over. And we've seen that in a lot of different countries. But what it really comes down to is we need to keep on being focused on building the best thing. And I think if we do that, we'll win in all these different countries.